If you don't have in your possession one of our study guides that goes with the Not Open book, please email us and we'll send you a link for that. Those of the students who are here in the room, I sent you a copy of that discussion guide. If you go to page 20, we talked about this last week in the class, on page 20 there's a set of questions. They're the discussion questions that go with the false gods. Those questions become the first half of your test grade for this unit. There's 100 points available. 50%, which means, let's just think about that mathematically. How much is this worth? 50 points. 50 points will come from how well you do on this assignment. I need complete sentences. I do not want to read slop. Okay? I want to read something that is a well-formulated thought. Obviously, when you look at the nature of these questions do not have so much a right and wrong answer, because you're going to be evaluating these false gods and the pull you feel on them in your own personal life. So this is a personal reflection paper. There's no right or wrong, but there is a sense of whether you're truly willing to do some work for this and think deeply. That's part of the purpose of this class. Not that you can just regurgitate all 6 false gods, but whether you can interact with the material. So you've got six different false gods, and you have those questions. When you answer those questions, that will be the first half of the test. The second half of the test, of which I will give you next week, and you can take it home. It's going to be closed book, but you will take it home. So we'll trust your honesty on that. It won't be difficult. I'll explain to you next week some of the things that you should know to get ready for it. But the main thing I want to see is this 50% that you're going to be working on next week. Does that make sense? Everybody have that? Okay. So page 20 in the study guide. If you have a question, make sure you see me before we leave today, so that you know exactly what to do. All right, now, in this section today, we're going to be talking about the false gods. Last week, we talked about the I wills. Who thinks they could name the 6 I wills? Anybody think they could name all 6 of them? Can you do it? Can you do it? Okay, let's see if you can do it.
Okay, I will step out of the closet.
Come out of the closet. Step out's good. I like that one. Okay.
I will...
You don't have to have them in order. Get any of them.
Hate and be hated.
Hate and be hated.
I will fear the right one.
Uh-huh.
I will...
Fear the right one.
Judge rightly.
Judge righteously.
And...
Somebody help him. We got hate and be hated. What is it? I will...
Love truthfully.
Fight the right enemy, and
Love
I will... I heard it back over here. Love truthfully. Love truthfully. Pull your book out if you would, please. Everybody have their book in front of them. When we designed this book, we wanted it to be where if you read through the table of contents in this book, I like books that I can tell when I look in the table of contents what the outline of the book is. So that's how I wrote this book, so it's pretty easy. We have it in numerical form. If you notice at the beginning here, we talked about something is wrong, that there's an invisible spiritual culture war. We looked at 100% open, 100% not open, and then we started going through those 4 disastrous side effects of open. Then we had this middle section talking about the remnant and God having a plan. We covered some of that last week, and then we got into the section on the 6 I wills. Now, I want you to think about it like this. Your brain is being constantly programmed to deal with ideas. How many of you watched anything online this week? Like a little YouTube clip, or you read something, or you saw a movie, something that came through the internet. Can I see your hands? Something that came through the internet. How many of you watched anything on TV this week? Okay, how many of you watched a movie of any type? How many of you read anything other than the Bible? Okay, now, anytime those activities are coming to us, it's almost like you can imagine the gears in our brain are constantly moving to try to process what is happening in those things and how to think about them. We said that what our goal is in this class is to develop what? A biblical worldview. Good job. Biblical worldview, which means we are retraining our brain so that we can think. Now, I know some of you, you've already had a lot of biblical training in your life. I know many of you in this room have been to Sunday school, been to church, you've memorized scripture, and so we're looking to have our minds open. Have our minds what?
Not open.
Not open to the things of the world, and having them renewed by the washing of the water of the Word, right? So we talked about these 6 I wills, but I want you to understand that as we're talking about the invisible spiritual culture war, there are battles going on in these ideas, okay? You can think of it this way. There's advertising battles going on, okay? Think about two competitive brands. Somebody think of a product and then think of two competitive brands. Yes?
Apple and Microsoft.
Apple and Microsoft. Which is best?
Apple.
How many think Apple? How many think Microsoft? Okay, look here. We got the Mac people back here and the Apple in the front. Does anything about that? Okay. So we got the Apple and the Mac. Okay, you've got the whole different deal about this. It was pretty funny when I said that.
Mac is Apple.
I'm sorry, Mac is Apple. What did I say? What?
Microsoft.
Microsoft. I'm sorry. Did I say Mac? I meant to say Microsoft. Okay. So anyways, we've got two different views on that. And so you're going to have a competition going on. What we're seeing right now is in the spirit realm, there is competition for airtime. We're talking this week about false gods. Now, think about in the Old Testament. Were there any false gods in the Old Testament? Okay, what were some of their names? Baal, Moloch, say again?
Asher.
Yes, Ashereth. Okay, we've got all these false gods. So let me just be honest now. When you hear their names, do you kind of say, oh, that's ridiculous, as soon as you hear that? Oh, that's ridiculous. I mean, they were building poles and dancing around them. I mean, I'm just thinking, who could be so silly? Have a little statue, all bowing down to it. I mean, it's just ridiculous, right? But here's what I want to challenge you to realize is, while we can read in history of people making an idol or a false god, we're doing the same things now. Who knows what I mean by that? Who can explain what I mean by that? We're doing the same things now. Go ahead, Ethan. You turn.
We're using other stuff as idols, like the things in the world, like iPods and stuff.
Okay, we're using other things that begin to exalt themselves up in our perspective, in our viewpoint, and in our decision making above God. Now, let me just ask you this. If you have your electronic device, can I borrow this just a second? You have a phone, like an electronic phone. Okay, it's an iPhone. Okay, if I have these three objects, let me show you here on this. Let's see if we can get this on here. If you go into your room and you see these three objects sitting on your desk, okay, or on your bed or wherever you put your stuff, which one calls to you? Okay, which one is screaming at you? Just be honest. Huh? What's calling you? The phone. Why? Because somebody could have called me, right? Or I might have missed a text coming in and I've got to check this out. So when you think about it, these things are in competition, so to speak, for our attention and for worship. What is worship? It's a deep word, but what does it really mean? So you lift up. Okay? Think about it. You lift it up. You can see a universal sign of giving in when you're in a battle is you raise your hand in surrender. That's why some people raise their hand in worship. They're surrendering, they're worshiping God. That's why people have bowed down to things. Because there's something about giving yourself up to something. So let me ask you, which of these things do we give ourselves up to in our culture? Do we have people just like running into the room saying, oh my goodness, I have got to have a Bible. Where is it? Or do you have people fighting over, who has my phone? This is emergency. I lost my phone. Or I lost my Bible. I know we have times in our house when people are looking for the Bible and they're upset because their Bible. So I'm not saying we're not there. I'm just saying we're in competition. That's what's going on here. So I want you to come up here today and I want you to help us because we want to get through these 6 different, here, I'll give you this back because you might need this to take notes. for our beautiful thing and use that beautiful thing that God gave us to destroy our lives. Go over to page 162. 8 biblical reasons why it's all about sex. You think to yourself, why do we constantly talk about this? What is the deal? Well, if you look at it, that 8 reasons in here that I was able to identify that biblically, that's exactly what we would expect it to be. Number one, in the Old Testament, the words idolatry and adultery are used interchangeably, particularly in the King James Version. How many of you have heard that? Notice that? All of a sudden, talking about people, like doing weird things, they say, yes, that's adultery. And you're like, I don't see anything do anything like that. I mean, what's the point of what it's saying? If you look back at the original word, they're used interchangeably. Think about that. When we talk about having a passion for God, right? We talk about giving our hearts to God. We talk about giving our whole self to God. There's something deeply personal about the heart of man. And so the heart of man has a choice about who to give their inner self to, who to give their life to. In other words, the concept of being worshiping God and worshiping sexuality have always been a draw of mankind. You see that? That's why you see all of the explanations about Moloch. What were they doing with Moloch's time? Do you remember? Sacrificing their children. You ever run across this phrase in the Bible called the shrine prostitutes? Okay, we don't really want to talk about what they were doing there, okay? But again, sexuality was involved in it. So